Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Eye Test. As you guys can see, I'm here by myself, holding it down. Mark is down and out for the count. You know, the weather finally got to him. Either that or one of the kids. Either way, wish him well. Hope he gets better soon. He's just a little bit sick today. But either way. What we got for you today is we're going to recap the NFL Divisional round. If you guys were watching, it was exciting. If you weren't watching, you missed out on some fantastic football. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know who's out there watching, whoever you are, appreciate the view. There we go. I see you out here, Mark. You know what I'm saying? That's all he got is a eh. You know what I'm saying? That's all he got in him, Man, the man is dying right now. Oh, okay. Never mind. This is something completely different. Something I didn't. Okay. That's cool, man. Eagles, Hey, shout out to the Eagles, though. Shout out to the Eagles, man. If I was an Eagles fan, I would be happy that, made it to another NFC championship game, considering everything that happened last season with the Eagles and how, had the monumental collapse and, there was a lot of questions around everything, the coach, the players' body languages on the sideline, all that stuff. But shout out to Eagles. Shout out to the Eagles for the bounce back, man, All right. What's good, Troy? What's good, man? Hey, you know what's crazy, Mark? You know what's wild is when people owe you money and then they say what's up to you as if they don't owe you money. Like they talk directly to you as if they already paid their debts to society. You know what I'm saying? That's wild. What up, Troy? Yeah. Either way, I do expect Troy to. I think maybe he just forgot that he owed me money. That's cool though. You cash at me? Hey, let me check my cash app. Let me make sure. I could be. I don't want to call this man. I don't want to call this man a liar. Hey, that's crazy. He said I cash app you. I opened my cash app. As I'm opening my cash app, a new transaction just came through just now. Okay, never mind. Yep, Friday. It says Friday. It says you sent it on Friday. All right, you good. You in the clear, my boy. You in the clear. Okay. Cash App didn't notify me. You good. Okay, we good. My bad. Hey, forget all the negative things I said about Troy. Forget it. You know what I'm saying? It never happened. All right. Make a bet. That's fantasy football money, Mark. I won a championship. Wasn't no bet. Hey, look. My bad. I got a little, maybe I got a little carried away. Maybe I should have checked back in, with Cash App, just to make sure, But either way, not gonna keep this. Keep you guys waiting too much longer. Whoever's here, I'm gonna ask. Go ahead. If you guys tell me which game you want me to speak about now, or I'll just get into whatever game I feel like it. So, if you guys got a suggestion for the first game that you want me to speak about, speak up now. Bunch of great games this weekend. All right, give it just a few more. But yeah, all right, man. Let's talk about the fact that let's talk about the Bills versus the refs is what we got up here. Bills versus the refs. Look, man. That's a future matchup. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But how about we start there? Let's just talk about the Bills and the Ravens game, man. Because that's the one that really got me upset this weekend, man. And I am not a Ravens fan by any means, any stretch of the imagination. But come on, man. So it has been shown that all season long, the Ravens were undefeated whenever Derrick Henry got 20 carries or more. And Derrick Henry ended the game versus the Bills. He ended the game with 16 carries. Don't know how that happened. Don't know why it happened. At this point, I don't care. If you guys looked at the title of the show today, it's called They Are Who We Thought They Were. And this is one of the reasons why the title is what it is. You know, the Ravens, at some point, all right, this is 6 years straight. At some point, we just have to say that they are who we thought they were, okay? The Ravens, they seem to be a front-running team, all right? They play very well when they have the lead. Shoot, actually, I can't even say that. They blow leads in the second half. But they tend to win those games even if they blow the lead, it seems, right? But regular season champs, they're the regular season champs, man. They take care of business in the regular season. They look unstoppable in the regular season. And every year, you know, Ravens fans, all the Lamar Jackson fans out there, y'all fall for the banana in the tailpipe every time, man. I told Mark at the end of last season, after that playoff game, I told him I do not care if Lamar gets another MVP. I do not care what he does in the regular season. I don't care what the Ravens do in the regular season. It's not just Lamar. You know what I'm saying? And this season was like the epitome of that. This is the best season I've seen them have during the Lamar Jackson era. This is the best the receiving core has played in the Lamar Jackson era. This is the best running game that they've had in the Lamar Jackson era. This is the healthiest that the defense has been in the Lamar Jackson era. All of these things culminated into the season that they had this year, where they just kind of looked dominant. They looked unbeatable. They get to the playoffs. They take care of business against Cincy like they're supposed to. They show up here in Buffalo in a snow game of all things, and they decide they don't want to run the ball no more. They said there was, this is the most interesting stat that I've seen from the game. Zero design runs for Lamar Jackson. Zero design runs from Lamar Jackson. My bad. I know I said Bengals earlier. Excuse me. Steelers is what I was talking about. The Steelers game. They ran the read option a million times, it felt like, in the first half of that Steelers game. And we didn't see it not once during this game. Zero design runs from Lamar Jackson is unfathomable. It's unacceptable, all these things. So, look, I know people are probably shocked I'm talking about Lamar Jackson. I'm talking about Lamar Jackson. I'm talking about the Ravens just being who they are. You know, it's become part of their identity to show up to the playoffs and lose their identity. I haven't mentioned Mark Andrews yet because we're going to get there. But the first half of the game, Lamar Jackson starts off the game with an interception and a fumble. And I understand that he made up for it in the second half. I understand that they came back and they had a chance to win. They had a couple of chances to take the lead or at least tie the game up in the second half. And I understand that, you know, but they shouldn't have been playing from behind. There was a point they were 2 scores back. They shouldn't have never been 2 scores back. You know? Matter of fact, they never applied any pressure to Josh Allen, the person who they say has led the league in turnovers since he's gotten to the league. Just overall turnovers, he's led the league he leads the league in turnovers since that year. This year, he hasn't had to throw the ball that much. Imagine if they would have ran the ball, put them behind the 8 ball, make sure that they had the lead against Buffalo, and Buffalo has to go to the air. Josh Allen threw the ball 8 times in the first half. Didn't have to do anything. But yeah, we're gonna get to let's talk about Mark Andrews though. Mark Andrews, it's something about Mark Andrews, man. This ain't even the first time that we've seen Mark Andrews choke in the playoffs. This is not the first time. This is at least the second or the third time I've seen Mark Andrews just completely disappear or choke in the playoff game, man. Mark Andrews just is not the guy that you can rely on to catch the ball in tight situations in these types of in the playoff in the playoff atmosphere. You know, but at some point in time, you have to realize that, man. So, yes, Mark, it is interesting amount of people excusing Lamar's play. There's forget about excusing it. There's people that aren't even mentioning his first half. And when they do, all they say is, "Oh yeah, man, they played a perfect second half. He had them in a position to win." You know what puts you in a position to win, Mark? Having a lead at halftime. That puts you in a position to win. They should have had a 2-score lead at halftime. You know what I mean? Instead, they had 2 turnovers that led to 14 points. 2 turnovers by Lamar Jackson. The fumble was so atrocious, man. He just laid the ball on the ground. And because of Mark Andrews' fumble in the drops, there's not a peep about Lamar Jackson just letting the ball go onto the ground. So, nah, man, it's disgusting. I mean, at this point, I think it's weird, man. After all the pre-draft talk about Lamar Jackson and the image of him and all that stuff, it seems like Lamar Jackson is bulletproof right now. Didn't see that coming. But either way, I'm gonna start playing the blame game. All right. So here's where I put the blame. You have, first and foremost, you have the MVP that did not play like an MVP. Most of the blame has to go on Lamar Jackson for not getting out to that lead. Like, I mean, I could sit here and talk about how they didn't run the ball, but it's hard to run the ball when you turn the ball over within the first 3 plays of a possession. So that also plays a part in it. So, but in general, when we talk about quarterbacks and we say one of them ones, we talk about Lamar Jackson, we talk about Joe Burrow, we talk about Pat Mahomes, right? If you one of them ones, you can't do that. Okay? So, and this is every playoffs that Lamar does this. So, either way, Lamar gets most of the blame. Very right behind Lamar. I'm not even saying Mark Andrews. I'm saying the coaching staff. That play calling, terrible. No design runs from Lamar. No read options. Not enough Derrick Henry. Just everything about the game and the game flow, I hated. I absolutely hated it the entire game. Play calling was terrible. I don't know if they could have done anything better defensively, honestly. But I don't even think they played bad defensively. Lamar's greatness did not take over. Lamar's, I don't care whose fault it is. I don't care if the coaching staff is trying to prove a point about Lamar the way that the Seahawks were trying to prove a point about Russell Wilson. I don't care if it's Lamar trying to prove a point. I don't really care who's at fault for who's trying to prove a point that Lamar Jackson can win the game with his arm.
It looks like you lost another one.
I just feel like I'm tired of seeing that happen in the most important playoff games or the big playoff games. I'm tired of seeing him throw the ball a bunch of times and no handoffs. So, and then thirdly, I say the blame goes to Mark Andrews because he has to get some of that because that's unacceptable, that fumble. Why are all these people in these snow games running around with the ball in one hand? Yeah, three yards out from the end zone, keep passing. They could have ran the ball 3 times. They ran the ball 0 times. This to me, and I feel like not enough people are talking about it. To me, this is Marshawn Lynch all over again. You know, it's Derrick Henry, man. It's Derrick Henry. It's a snow game. The offense has the advantage. The defense is going to have an issue with their footing. I don't get it. It's crazy. But at this point, like I said, they are who we thought they were. We just have to call it what it is. You know, the Ravens will continue to not do what got them there. Lamar Jackson will continue to turn the ball over in playoff games. I believe they had a stat that said the QBs with the most 2+ turnover games in the playoffs in NFL history, and Lamar Jackson has 4 of those games. The next 2 guys are like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Tom Brady and Drew Brees, guys that played a bunch more playoff games than him. He's in 8 playoff games, 4 times he's had two or more turnovers, man. Like I said, he's going to turn the ball over, and the Ravens are absolutely going to go out there and not do what got them there. It just is what it is. The sooner we accept it, the sooner we can move on. Go ahead and get your hopes up, folks. Get your hopes up every year. I said I was done after last year. I still had a little bit of hope left, and they just killed it out of me. All right. So unless you guys got anything else, shout out to the Bills. The play calling was exactly what it was supposed to be. They ran 3 running backs. This is the most I've ever seen the Bills run. This season all together, they ran the ball a lot. But this game in particular, they came out and said, look, this is what we need to do to win the game. We're not going to turn the ball over. We're just going to run it. We're going to keep it. Honestly, it's crazy. They're going to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands unless he's running it, is what they said. And that's how they limited their turnovers. That's how they won the game. Everybody ran the ball. That's it. The Bills came in with the game plan that the Ravens should have came in with. Yes, they're 0-5 this year, Mark. 0-5 in games where Derrick Henry has less than 20 carries. 0-5. Okay, they lost them all. So I don't understand. This is for in the age of analytics. I feel like this is low hanging fruit. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to see this from a mile away. This is the stat that should get plucked from the tree really early, right away. Hey, we got to get them 20 carries. Yeah, I don't understand it. So, yeah, sorry I didn't talk too much about what the Bills did right, but I feel like the Bills just showed up, played a game, made sure they didn't turn the ball over, and they won. So I can't even credit the defense with these turnovers. That's the crazy thing. Lamar put the ball on the ground, and he threw directly to a Bills player. So Mark Andrews running around with the ball in one hand like this in a snow game. All right, cool. All right, so that was one AFC game. Let's move over to the NFC. All right, let's talk about this Lions versus Commanders game. Where is Reese Cup when you need her? You know what I'm saying? She about to miss out on her section, man. Yeah, Ravens lost the game. Bills didn't win. It does make sense. That's the way I feel. So yes, I agree. But yes, these Lions, these Commanders. I said before, we talked about this last week. I said this game is going to come down to who can get defensive stops. I didn't think either defense would be able to get that many defensive stops, but I knew that it was going to come down to the defenses. The offenses were just going to do what they were going to do, and that was my prediction. It was going to be a shootout. It could be a 40 point here, 40 point there game is what I was expecting. Commanders held up their end of the bargain. The Lions decided, excuse me. Sorry, I said Lions. Jared Goff decided that wasn't going to happen. So, um, I hate to do this, but it's like, no, I don't hate to do it. I'm gonna say it. 9 times out of 10, whenever the conversation of quarterbacks come up, when we talk about the quarterback hierarchy, the rankings, and the ratings, um, I will typically classify Jared Goff currently. Classify him above. I will classify him above Brock Purdy, but I will also say that I will take Brock Purdy over him personally. And it doesn't sound like it makes sense, but it does. You give Jared Goff a clean pocket, and I'm telling you that Jared Goff with a clean pocket is better than every quarterback in the league, not named, and this is going to sound crazy, not named Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Feel like I'm missing somebody, but maybe I'm not. You know, I know.
Looks like you lost another one.
Yeah, Stafford is somebody that you might be thinking should go ahead of him, but Stafford is a gunslinger. He can have a clean pocket and still throw 3 picks because it's Matt Stafford, and that's why I trust Jared Goff with a clean pocket more than Matt Stafford. But Jared Goff, but the fact that he's even in that conversation is wild, right? Jared Goff under pressure he plummets down to the bottom half of the league of quarterbacks immediately when there's pressure involved. And we saw that with the Washington Commanders game. Commanders applied pressure all game long. They blitzed. They did a bunch of stuff. Shout out to Dan Quinn for the game plan, for the defensive game plan. They absolutely disrupted whatever Jared Goff was trying to do. And I feel like, I'll be honest with you, man, I feel like after the first 2 turnovers, Mark, I feel like it was already over. Like he was in his own head by that time. So it's Jared Goff is who we think he is, man. He's exactly who we thought he was. He's a guy who is going to look. He's like Jimmy G on steroids. I'm going to give him a lot more credit than Jimmy G. But you put him in position to succeed, and Jared Goff looks like a superstar. Okay, he finished the season with a 72% completion percentage. That pocket gets a little dirty and he doesn't know what to do. But you know what? I'm not putting this all on Jared Goff. That coaching staff, it's scary. It has to be scary watching the Detroit Lions as a Lions fan sometimes. I guess maybe happy they've been winning. But if I was a Detroit Lions fan, it would be a little scary for me to watch them week in and week out between Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson with the play calling, going for it on 4th downs on their own, on their side of the field, and all of the crazy things that they do offensively, trick plays in situations where you shouldn't be doing it. It's all fun and games when it works, you know. You look crazy when it don't. It looks crazy when you have a running back averaging 10 yards a carry, who essentially ran the ball for 100 yards in the first half. That's not even counting the catches that he had. Okay, there was zero answer for Jahmyr Gibbs. Washington Commanders. I'm gonna look it up here in a second, or Mark, if you're available to look it up for me, give me an assist here while you're sitting at home. I want to believe that the Commanders, I think they said the Commanders were like 30th against the run all season long. The Detroit Lions were one of the best. I want to say Detroit Lions were like a top 3 team running the ball all season. You would think that it would be a simple game plan of coming in here, running the ball, Jahmyr Gibbs was cooking them. When I say 10 yards a carry, this ain't like a 10 yards a carry where it's like he ripped off a 50-yarder. The dude was legitimately getting 10 yards every time he touched the ball. You gotta run with that, man. You just gotta keep going. The fact that he had 10 carries for like 100 yards, 103 yards in the first half of the game, while simultaneously Jared Goff had 3 turnovers already, is absolutely insane. I don't get it, man. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, they were horrible against the run. You want to keep the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hands. The game plan is real simple. You're one of the best running teams. And see, man, these new coaches, they want to get cute, man. They want to get cute. Everybody want to do the sexy thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's you know, they said it was the highest ticket price game in Detroit Lions history. You know, and I had a back and forth with my sister. My sister, you know, she's a Commanders fan, so I'll be paying attention to what she's talking about. But she was saying, oh, yeah, it's because they're playing the Commanders. That's why they have the highest. So I said, you sure it's not because they're the number 1 seed in everybody surrounding the Detroit situation? Even people that ain't even Detroit Lions fans, just fans of the NFL that feel bad for Detroit as a city and for a fan base that were rooting for Detroit Lions. You know, everybody kind of believed that this was the year. This is the year that they go to the Super Bowl. Even if you didn't believe they'll win it, everybody thought that they were going. Okay, so I felt like they walked into this game with that level of arrogance to think that even though they're that bad at run defense and we're that good at running, we don't have to do that. That's not how we're going to win this game. That's like, it reminds me of Ronda Rousey. Every time she was getting into a fight with a competent opponent or somebody that they were saying was a competent opponent, they were like, what did they do? Oh, they said I'm not going to finish him with the arm bar. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm only going for the arm bar. Oh, I can't stand up and strike with this person. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stand up and strike. Well, you know, when you stand up and strike with a boxing champion / kickboxing champion named Holly Holm, maybe it's just a bad idea to do that. You know what I'm saying? You're not striking with a UFC striker at that point. You're striking with a boxer. And you've seen how that turned out. But it's one of those things where there's just too much arrogance within that coaching staff to where we all kind of knew they weren't just going to run the ball. We knew, even though Gibbs was ripping off those runs, we knew they weren't going to continue to run the ball. Everybody knew it. So that's gross negligence on the part of the coaching staff. Real quick, Troy, do the Lions have to win a championship for you to feel they won the trade, or the players they receive for their future is good enough? From the beginning, I think Mark agrees with me. We said that the trade worked out for both teams. I think Jared Goff does what you need him or want him to do within the offensive scheme with all of those guys around them. You could say maybe they could have higher highs if they had Matthew Stafford with those weapons. I agree. But also what happens when you have Matthew Stafford is you're going to have those games where he's going to go off script. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, in the beginning, I said they got the player that they're looking for and that they wanted. They have the youth in Jared Goff. They can have him for many more years. I don't know how many more years Matthew Stafford is going to play. People forget we had the scare with the shoulder injury a couple years back with Matt Stafford. We don't know how much longer Matt Stafford has. Jared Goff in today's NFL can play another 10 to 12 years. So but to directly answer the question, do they have to win a championship for them to feel that they won the trade? I didn't think so before, but I'm starting to think so now, because like I said, I felt like it was even in the beginning, but right now you got to look at it and say, yeah, that's great. We have a guy for the future. We could be good for a long time. Being good for a long time without a championship, when people expect you to win a championship, that's an L. Look at the Ravens. That's an L. Every year that the Ravens go to the playoffs, every year that Lamar gets an MVP and they don't make it to the AFC Championship game, or they don't make it to the Super Bowl, that's an L. That's an L season, man. So, yeah, I think they have to win one with Jared Goff, because if not, right now nobody cares, but people are going to start looking back and saying, if Jared Goff has another performance like this, like, let's not forget, that's not what happened last season. He didn't finish out the game great against the Niners last year, but he didn't melt down like he did this year. He melts down like this again, they're going to bring it up, man. They're going to bring up the fact that Matt Stafford wouldn't have done that. So, and then said, Mark says, Lions are done. If I was the Lions, there is no way I'm letting Ben Johnson out of the building. Mark, absolutely right, man. But he's already gone. They saying he's going to the Bears. Look, man, teams have to start paying their offensive coordinators. They got to start paying their defensive coordinators, man. Right now, Mark, there's an article that I read, side note, but related. There's an article that I read a few days ago that said that the 49ers were willing to make Robert Saleh the highest paid defensive coordinator in history for him to come back. This is my question, though. Why is it only when we let them walk away that we want to do something like this? You know what I'm saying? Because it might be too late. He might say the money ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand why you don't make that same offer when you already have him in the building. So that's my issue, man. But the Lions are done, Mark. I agree with you. The issue is Ben Johnson is leaving. I don't know if he has an understudy there, but you know, typically the understudy does not do as well as the original, at least not right away. And the original is already too young for the understudy to have been able to concoct their own version of the offense that was being run there. So it's just, I think they take a step back, a huge step back offensively. I think these 50-50 chances that they take with these fourth downs, these 2-point conversions, you're going to see the pendulum swing the other direction next season to where it's going to cost them more games. I don't like Ben Johnson as the head coach. All of the question marks that I've had about the play calling and all that stuff, yeah, Dan Campbell's part of that, but Ben Johnson is too. I don't know how much of that Ben Johnson is responsible for, but that's not the type of situation that I would want. That's not the type of play calling that I would want, or decision making that I would want with second-year Caleb Williams at the helm. I would be very concerned about things like going forward on fourth all willy-nilly and all the trick plays. Like, forget trick plays. Learn the plays that we got for you. Okay, so we'll see what it looks like with Ben Johnson in Chicago. But yeah, Ben Johnson leaving the Detroit Lions is going to hit harder than a lot of folks really realize, man. You can have all the talent in the world, and if you don't have the right person there to put it all together, it ain't gonna mean nothing. So, either way, Lions, you came out, shot the bed. Jared Goff played like doo-doo. The Washington Commanders, I loved everything that they did. Play calling immaculate all game. Maybe not all game. I didn't like the beginning of the game where they're coming out with the 3 running back sets, 3 people in the backfield they were trying to go trick play for trick play with the Detroit Lions earlier in the game, and I didn't like that. I saw, like first off, seeing Dan Quinn on the sideline with the with the long sleeve shirt under the short sleeve shirt with the hat with the backwards hat. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Stewie Griffin. You know what I'm saying? If y'all remember that episode, y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I was like, Dan Quinn about to do something stupid today. That's what I said. And sure as shit, first half, I don't know what they was doing, but they got out of that. They put the ball back in Jaden Daniels' hands. Said, let's get the job done. And he was surgical, man. He was surgical out there, and you can't play around with somebody that's that surgical. You can't just hope that you're going to get a 3-and-out. You can't just hope that he's going to turn the ball over. Yeah. What up, Sharice? Yeah. You didn't like the trick plays either? I hated all of them. I hated all of the trick plays that they were trying to pull. And I felt like they only did it because they were going against the Detroit Lions. But they cleaned it up. They realized the error of their ways really quickly, and they said, we're not going to do that. But shout out to the Commanders. Shout out to Jaden Daniels. Shout out to the Commanders' defense. I mean, I know Jared Goff was out there selling, but the defense was buying. So I know they'll take it. They'll take it. They made the plays that needed to be made to win the game. We're going to talk about what they got to do next week or this upcoming week to try to continue their little hot streak. But right now, to be honest with you, man, with Jaden Daniels playing the way that he's been playing, the clean games that he's been having, his ability to I know that people are saying that he plays like a mini Lamar Jackson. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I think Jaden Daniels' game is closer to prime Patrick Mahomes than it is Lamar Jackson. Because, yeah, although he can kill you with his legs, he's not in the middle of the field juking and trying to juke people out their shoes and doing all that craziness. Getting to the outside, he's now late. I'm glad that he fixed it earlier in the season. He was taking too many hits. Now he's trying to get out of bounds. He's taking what's given, and it looks more to me like second year, third year Patrick Mahomes than it does Lamar Jackson. Especially when you talk about the accuracy and the poise and the ability to just fit the ball where it shouldn't be able to fit. You know what I mean? Pause. But yeah, man, Jaden Daniels, I don't want to hear Lamar Jackson comparisons. He's what Lamar Jackson should be. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for the Commanders. Oh yeah, shout out to the Commanders running backs for stepping up. Shout out to Zach Ertz for balling. Still have question marks about those other wide receivers, but it didn't seem to hold them back in this Detroit Lions game. Commanders, enjoy your win. You did earn it. Detroit Lions sold though. You have to deal with that part of it. You have to deal with that. I cannot just say that y'all won the game. Jared Goff sold. All right. So we're going to go back to the AFC. We had the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Texans. Man, I really did not I didn't enjoy watching that game, man. All I saw was the refs working overtime. You know what I mean? And it's sad because the Kansas City Chiefs defensive line should have all or most of the glory for the W. But it's kind of hard to do when you're watching the refs completely just cheat, just straight up in your face. It's like, I don't know how many of y'all have kids, man. Look, man, my daughter, when she was younger, like 1 year old, she's able to walk now. She's able to get into mischief. And there's time, I still remember one specific time I said, hey, look, that pen, don't touch it. She's looking at the pen on the nightstand. Don't touch it. She looks back at me. She picks up the pen. She's still staring me in my eyes. I said, put the pen down, put it back. What does she do? She locks eyes. She keeps her eyes locked with me, and then she sprints off laughing. Okay, sprinted off laughing. Okay, that's what she did. You know, right is just it was like, man, you're just gonna blatantly disobey me right in my face. And she did it with a smile on her face. That's what it feels like right now. The level of disrespect that I felt from my 1-year-old in that moment is what I feel whenever the refs call unnecessary roughness. You know, the penalty that they called where Patrick Mahomes, he don't even slide. He's running around. He just drops to the ground. You got the two Texan defenders that hit each other. They hit each other helmet to helmet. And somebody may have grazed Patrick Mahomes' face mask. And they're just like hit to the head, you know, on the quarterback while he was sliding, you know, first down. Like when plays like that, it's like, okay, so you're gonna cheat in my face. We can see it on the film. We watch the replay, and the commissioner doesn't say anything. There's no after report. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. We get nothing as a fan, as NFL fans. We get nothing. They just said you deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So the Texans, I've never seen so many players post game come out and just be like, "Yeah, man, we knew what it was going in. You already knew what it was going to be." You know. Everybody, the commentary crew, everybody that was involved with the commentary crew said something about the refs and how this has to stop. You know, Troy Aikman, you know, him and Joe Buck notoriously glazing Patrick Mahomes for everything that he does. Troy Aikman said enough is enough. Okay, that's how you know it's bad. So. That game, I feel like if the refs weren't as involved, the momentum doesn't get out of hand the way that it did. Some people might say, oh, they would have lost anyway. Their kicker was missing kicks and all these other different things. You have no idea how much those unfair calls by the refs changed the momentum of the game. They extended drives for the Chiefs. They ended drives for the Texans. Or there was times where there should have been a penalty called in the Texans' favor and there wasn't, and that would have extended a drive. So I wish I could talk more about the actual football that was played in this game, but let's be honest, man. The refs ruined this game. The Texans They couldn't block the defensive line of the Chiefs. And between those two things, I mean, the score was closer than the game actually was, but they never had a chance. They never had a chance in this instance. Yeah. I mean, unless you guys want to hear more about that game, I don't want to talk about it no more. Let's get into the Eagles. The Eagles game, okay? So, Eagles-Rams, Mark was a little bit nervous. He understands when you talk about any given Sunday, Matt Stafford is one of them guys. That's the reason why it's an any given Sunday situation, man. He understood that although the Eagles have a great defense and they got guys everywhere, they got talent everywhere, he still understands that you get those receivers that are capable of creating space with their route running and their hands, and then you combine them with a guy like Matt Stafford that can make all those tough throws. It's a situation to where you can't just go in there saying, well, we're the better team. Well, we got a great defense. They shouldn't be able to. Okay, they shouldn't be able to. Matt Stafford makes a lot of things happen that they shouldn't be able to. So, yes, but in this game, the Eagles defense, man, they really showed up. They really put a lot of pressure up front on Matt Stafford. This was not a clean game by any means by the Philadelphia Eagles offense, but the defense to me showed to be very solid. They did not really give up any big plays in this game. They were able to contain Kyron Williams. I know Mark hates this statement, the bend but don't break, but that's what they did. They bent, they didn't break, and it seemed to have worked. Maybe the weather helps in this situation. I think that weather played a factor, especially in the turnovers with Kyron Williams and Matt Stafford both fumbling. Both of them, it seems to be, it's weird, man. I understand they play in a dome. I understand they play in LA, but watching guys trying to do things like one hand the ball with their dominant hand, switch to the non-dominant hand, still one hand in the ball, and you're playing in a literal snowstorm. And the defenders weren't even hiding it. They were trying to knock the ball out every single play. I just didn't understand why they were making those decisions. And for Matt Stafford to be walking around with the ball in one hand, trying to move within the pocket or step up into the pocket, that's something that I don't expect from. I expect better from Matt Stafford. So, but shout out to the Eagles defense. They were out there. They were out there trying to make plays, and they were making plays. My concern for the Eagles, which I don't know if this is going to carry over into next week, but after watching the game, I said to myself, some of the things that happen offensively, they can't have happen. Jalen Hurts can't take that safety. Can't take that safety in any means, by any means. You can't take that in any situation, any scenario. I didn't like the play call there. That's part of the reason why the safety happened. But I guess you make that play call assuming that your quarterback understands what's happening there and understanding that they cannot take a safety there. Mark even said, he's like, I'll take the intentional grounding before I go 8 yards deep into the end zone and then take a safety. So, he had Saquon Barkley underneath wide open. He could have thrown at his feet. Even if he doesn't complete that pass, maybe you're afraid to throw a pick if you're panicking. He could have thrown it over the middle to Saquon Barkley's feet for a complete pass. He just kind of sat there and just took the safety, man. Didn't like it at all. I want to say there was at least 3 drives where they made it into field goal range and immediately ended up taking a sack or a penalty to move them out of field goal range, resulting in them having to punt the ball. This should have been not a blowout per se, but it definitely should have been a larger margin of victory for the Eagles. When you really look at the flow of the game, the Rams struggled to move the ball for a majority of the game. The Eagles were moving the ball well all the way up until they got around the 35-yard line on the other side for some reason. So, but they eventually, Saquon Barkley, when we talk about handoffs and running the ball, Saquon Barkley wasn't having the greatest game in the beginning of the game. I think at one point he had like 6 carries for like 14 yards. He wasn't out there dominating, but they eventually said we're gonna stick to it. We're gonna stick to it. He ripped off 3 big touchdown runs. Like, you stick with it, man. You stick with it. He ends up ending the game with 24 carries, 200 yards or whatever, and they stuck with it. They went away from it for just a small margin of time, and they went back to it. Every time they were in trouble, Saquon bailed them out with a big run. Um, Shout out to the Eagles for running the ball 24 times with Saquon. You know,
Looks like you lost another
so
one.
yeah, but the Eagles, the I guess my biggest takeaway from this game is the Eagles played bad at times during this game. This is like a C plus game, and that's only because of Saquon doing what Saquon did and them being willing to run the ball. The C plus game for the offense, and they won pretty handedly. So, yeah, man, that's good news for the Eagles going into the next week. So, I'm just gonna jump straight into my predictions for the championship games. We have Eagles versus Commanders, and I've had time to really think about this. And maybe, my sister's gonna call me a hater. You know what I'm saying? But I'm looking at it this way: everything has to come to a head. Okay, the Commanders not having enough receivers has to come to an end. Has to come to a head. Excuse me. Them not really being able to get the running game going has to come to a head, man. Like it eventually is going to cost them. Okay. Them not being able to stop the run, eventually it has to cost them. Okay, so this is the team. If you don't have enough wide receivers, this ain't the secondary you want to play. If you have trouble defending the run, this ain't the running back you want to face. The Eagles they've been willing to run the ball all season long. They are not going to show up and do what Detroit did. Okay? And when Eagles are just the better team all around. I feel like they don't have the ball security issues that the Detroit Lions had. And they're a far better team than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that the Commanders beat by 3 points on the last drive of the game. So I don't see a world that I don't see how the Commanders come away with a victory here. I'm not saying it's impossible. Jaden Daniels could just come out and play a clean ass game. Commanders could come out here, have 0 turnovers. Maybe they get forced into situations where they got to punt, take 3, whatever, and somehow they just outlast the Eagles. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No. I'm taking the Eagles over the Commanders. I'm taking them to win by 2 scores. Whatever that means. 10 points, 13 points. I don't care, man. I'm taking them to win by 2 scores. I just don't see how. I can't do the math. Every time I do the math, it shows the Eagles winning. All right. The AFC Championship game, the Bills versus the Chiefs. Gonna be interesting.
Lost another one.
NFL loves Josh Allen. They love the Chiefs more apparently. Right now, the Bills defense has been playing very well. Been playing very well. Definitely well enough to win games. The offensive play calling has been yes, the refs. The offensive play calling has been exactly what they needed as far as still keeping the offense dynamic in a sense of, still allowing Josh Allen to run the ball, and having the threat of Josh Allen running be prevalent within the offensive scheme, but allowing him to still make plays with his arm, but limiting his attempts so that they limit turnovers. I mean, it's been like this all season. Okay, so I think there's something to be said about the cleaner games that they've been able to play, and they've been able to win games because of it. Let me just be clear. Bills were in a weak division this year. The division was weak. I don't care about the regular season wins. I don't care about the regular season record. But I do care about the fact that they're not turning the ball over as much, and they're more willing to run the ball with James Cook. Yeah, those things matter. Now, here's the problem. Josh Allen does absolutely terrible against the Chiefs front four. Or front three, whatever. It doesn't matter. He just does not do good versus the Chiefs defensive line. The Chiefs know how to make him uncomfortable in the pocket. They know how to ensure that he does not take off in the manner that he wants to. He wants to take off up the middle or to the right. They flush him out left every single time. They know all of his tendencies, and they know every which way to make him uncomfortable with the defense, They can't. This is not a game that they're going to be able to lean on James Cook and running. If you can't just say we're going to run the ball versus the Chiefs. That's not how it works. Okay? The Chiefs apparently could just be anemic offensively, and it doesn't matter, because number one, they'll make the plays that need to be made at the times when they need to be made. Number two, which really should be number one, is the refs. The refs, you got to go up against Patrick Mahomes. So not only do you have to go up against the GOAT quarterback, you got to go up against the GOAT head coach. You got to go up against the best defensive coordinator in the league. And then you got to go against the Zebras. I don't know what you can do to beat the Chiefs, okay? But whenever you figure it out, just understand that the refs are going to be back there to equalize everything, okay? There's not a world that exists. Like I said, I'm doing the math. I'm calculating. I'm crunching numbers. And every time I crunch the numbers, it says the refs, the NFL, nobody is going to allow they're not going to allow the Chiefs to lose this game. Okay? What they're going to say is, great showing, Josh Allen. You did it. You had a great season. You had a clean season. You're not even the MVP. You're this close. They're going to say next year is your time. We got to get this three-peat out the way. That's what's about to happen. So, yeah, I don't see how it happens, but yeah. So I've got the Chiefs winning because the Bills are a decent opponent. Yeah, they're going to win. This one might not be by 2 scores. I think this will be by 1 score, whether it be 6, 3, 7, however you want to slice it up. This is a 1-score victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. The refs apparently like to make it interesting. You know what I mean? So, yeah, he said, Troy said, got to worry about fake slides, non-call false starts, too many formulas. Taylor Swift. Hey, look, man. Just know, if it's 30 minutes before kickoff and they got the pregame show going on and they pan over up into the skybox and you see Taylor Swift up there, just know that the game has already been decided, man. You might as well just hang it up at that point. Hey, and what was up with that? Did anybody notice that? It had Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was up in the box, pushing up on Taylor Swift. That shit was crazy. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what. But look, man, it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't trust that man as far as I can throw him. All I'm going to say is, I'm absolutely going to assume he was up to no good. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, bum ass. Anyway, shout out to Aaron Rodgers. This you got too many things to go up against when you go up against the Chiefs. So, right now, unless you guys got some other questions, I'm gonna leave it open. You guys got some questions, some things you want to ask me about, go ahead and do that now. If you guys end up having nothing for me, then this might be the end of the episode, man. Yeah, definitely appreciate Mark showing up in the comment section, kind of being here by proxy, being here, via text. I appreciate that. Troy, once again, my apologies, brother. My apologies. Never let nobody put smut up on your name, But yeah, I guess in the meantime, I could shout out Ohio State winning the national championship in the first year of the 12-team playoff.
Looks like you lost
Um,
another one.
I really don't want to. Don't really particularly like Ohio State. I really don't like their fan bases. Their fan base. I don't really mess with them like that. Notre Dame. Not a huge fan of Notre Dame either. I think this was one of those national championships where people just didn't want to root for either team. And yeah, there was people that, I'm sure there are people that are just like, hey, it's a national championship game. It's exciting. Two teams going up against each other. I didn't think Notre Dame had a chance, to be honest with you. They played it. The game was closer than I thought it would be. I saw people say OSU versus Texas was a real national championship. It kind of was. I feel like everybody kind of knew that. But I'll be honest with you, man. I don't really like the 12-team playoff. I don't like the 12-team playoff. It kind of the 14 playoff already took the steam off of the bowl games. Now you have the 12-team playoff to where I feel like there's just certain playoff games that I just didn't care to watch. When it's only 4 teams, you watch them. You watch them. If it's 6 teams, you watch them. Right? 12 teams, you're just like, okay, man, I'll wait till round 2. Or, Ohio State played Texas already? Yeah, I don't need to see Ohio State play anybody else. Like, the other opponents that they have are not going to be interesting. But I do want to quickly bring up a topic, and it's maybe something that we could talk about another time. I had a friend post on Facebook. He was saying, actually, it's one of the younger cats from the neighborhood growing up. He was like, man, the transfer portal and a 12-team playoff, the combination of both of them is going to lead to the diehard fans and the casual fans of college football. It's going to lead to both segments of the population being disinterested towards the end of the year. You have people transferring before the bowl games. Nobody plays in bowl games anymore. You have the transfer portal is so crazy. Quarterbacks transfer all the time. Like, you don't even, like, the one player on the team that's supposed to be the staple, or that's supposed to be the backbone of the team, and how he's supposed to be the leader of the team. He's supposed to be who everybody rallies around, and how the whole team is built around them. They're not even there. But yes, I kind of agree with them. Like, hey, man, I think college football is going to go down a path to where the casual fans can't keep up with the player changes and the roster changes. So they will kind of, lose interest in that way, especially when they're talking about bowl games not meaning nothing. It seems like everything means less, right? And then you have the diehard fans that they they want to root for they are rooting for the team all the time, but it's like, damn, every time I start to like somebody, they're gone, or every time I start to really feel this situation, it changes. I brought up the fact that I'm a Gator fan. DJ Lagway, he only started for towards the end of the season for us this year, right? He's a freshman. Next year, he's going to be a sophomore. I expect him to play a full season next year. Because he's a sophomore, he can't get out yet, right? So he's going to go into his junior year, and if he finishes out a whole season as a junior, he will be the first quarterback in over a decade for the Florida Gators that has been a starter for 2 consecutive seasons. We haven't had it in over a decade. Partially because of the transfer portal, partially because of injury. It's just crazy. It's very hard for me to follow my team, even though we're not winning. It's not a situation to where it's like, man, whole class was good. It's not like the Michigan situation where they did so well, they got 12 people that go to the NFL and it completely changes the landscape of the team. We're not that good, man. Why is our roster changing every single year? But yeah, it's just getting harder and harder to kind of follow your team. And then when you take a step back and say, well, I just want to watch the playoffs, or I just want to watch the other games during the season, it's just like, okay, I feel like it's just harder to be a real fan than it used to be. Said if Deion left Colorado for the Cowboys, would that be nasty work? It was nasty work when he left Jackson State to go to Colorado. Would it be any nastier than that? I think it's just equivalently as nasty, but yeah, it would absolutely be nasty work. But it wouldn't be the shock factor wears off after you done seen it once. So yeah, if Deion goes to the Cowboys, man, I don't even know. Like whatever happens from that situation, he deserves it. Whatever backlash he gets for leaving Colorado and going to Dallas, he deserves it. Especially after saying he said he would never be an NFL coach. He said that this year. He said that shit like a month ago.
Looks like you lost another one.
That he would never do the NFL. He doesn't want to go to the NFL, and he'll never be an NFL coach. And he gave explicit reasons of, not being able to talk to guys that make that much money, and there's a bunch of stuff. But he didn't just on a whim say, I don't want to do it. He got into the details, said he would never do it. If that man leave and go coach the Cowboys, whatever backlash, whatever bad things happen in Dallas with the team folding like origami and the fan base turning on him or anything like that happens, that typically happens to any Cowboys coach. I'm not wishing ill on Deion, but it's just what happens when you're a Cowboys coach. If any of that stuff happens, hey man, you earned it. Well, folks, that is all that we have for you today. I appreciate everybody that showed up, everybody that commented. Definitely appreciate you supporting me on my solo mission today. Shout out to the Eagles fans. Y'all was all up in the comments. You got your dub. I hope you guys feel as confident as I do about y'all's chances of winning this next game. I want to be very clear. I don't care who leaves out of the NFC. I want the NFC champion to win the Super Bowl. I don't want to see the Chiefs win it. You know what I'm saying? They dirty macking their way all the way to the finish line. I don't want to see them win. And I absolutely don't want to see. I don't want to get too deep, and I don't want to get too detailed about it. But let's just say that there's a very particular segment of the population that is going to be insufferable if Josh Allen wins the Super Bowl. So I don't want to have to deal with those people. I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to look at another tainted Super Bowl like we had to with the Patriots and all that stuff. So yeah, man. Shout out to the Commanders. Shout out to the Eagles. Whoever wins, I hope y'all win the Super Bowl. Yeah, but like I said, thank you for holding it down for this episode of the Eye Test. Link, like, subscribe, as we always say. Mark says it's only entertainment. Okay, I don't even know if it's entertainment anymore. It looks like business, shady business, cooking the books. Okay, I don't know if that's entertainment, but yes, it's only entertainment. Be sure when you place your bets, you take heed. Okay, you understand exactly what they want. You understand exactly what they're looking for, and you place your bets accordingly. All right. Until next time, everybody, stay safe. Enjoy your evenings. Peace.